friends, and welcome to Starry, Hilder's Back to Eden Garden. Fully organic, beautiful, Back to Eden. Yeah, I feel like I'm in paradise. And this is the thing with our Back to Eden garden method. We have been using it for 5 years, and it really is sustaining us. It's giving us higher yield, healthier plants, and the soil. It creates soil. I'm going to show you how awesome this is. You don't have to go far to see. Look at this. I'm going to dig into our beautiful potato patch, and look at how rich this is. And look. Is that not gorgeous or not? Look at how healthy those potato plants are. Hold on. Uh-oh. Am I even on the right channel? I think I'm on the wrong channel. Hi. I think I'm in Mississippi. If you're wondering why Starry Hilder is on Deep South Homestead channel, I guess I was just teleported. So hi Danny, hi Wanda, welcome to my Back to Eden garden. And if you don't know me, there we go, Back to Eden. And you know what? Me and Wanda and Danny, we're going to sit and talk about Back to Eden gardening, because as you see, our garden is doing awesome, and we use the Back to Eden wood chip method. But since I really am on the wrong channel right now, we're going to do a double switch, and we're going to talk about some of the issues with Back to Eden gardening and why it may not be a one-shoe-fits-all. All right, Danny and Wanda, let's teleport ourselves.
Whoa, y'all. Oh, man, this portal that we're in. This is awesome.
It's an informational portal.
Oh, this is wild.
I love it.
Look.
We are in with Starry Hilder.
We're in with Starry Hilder.
Yes.
Starry.
I feel like we're in the Back to Eden termite portal right now.
Well, that's what we were just typing in.
We wanted to check out how you do your Back to Eden and why we can't have Back to Eden. You know?
Yeah. And you know what? And this is a great question, because I'm going to turn up the volume a little bit here. So many people have been contacting me, and they've been saying the same thing. Starry, we're using Back to Eden the garden method, and we're getting carpenter ants.
Yes.
We're getting termites. And so why don't you share your termite story with everybody? So, they don't feel alone. It's like a support group, the termite support group. You're ahead of it.
Okay, well, first thing you have to realize is where we live at here in our southern climate.
In Mississippi.
We're in South Mississippi. We have a lot of heat. We have a lot of humidity. Termites are really bad here. Well, it doesn't matter. You don't have to do anything. They're just in the soil.
Yeah.
And the carpenter ants. They crawl all over our deck. They come into our house. I mean, they do all these things. I mean, they're just in the soil here in this climate. If a piece of wood falls to the ground, whether it be a tree limb, whether it's a pallet, whether you drive a stake in the ground,
yes,
termites within a week are in it.
Wow, and that's incredible, because that's a story that I've been hearing. When people start these Back to Eden gardens, they come to me and they're like, we don't get it. What is wrong with the Back to Eden garden method that we're getting termites? And this is what I have found through all of my research, and just by us talking, you hit the key on the head, the nail on the head. The termites are in the soil.
Yes.
The carpenter are in the soil. They live in the soil. So if you live in an area where you already have these insects in the soil, if you put a pile of mulch, I don't care if it's wood chips, if it's bark, if it's rubber, if it's shredded sawdust, that actually creates an environment for them to live.
Yes.
It doesn't create termites, it creates an environment which they really like. And in fact, I wrote down mulch doesn't attract, but it invites.
Yes.
Yes, big time.
Yes.
We had sawdust brought in 2 years ago. A neighbor had a sawmill. We brought it in and piled it, and within 1 month, I went to put it around something, and it was full of termites.
Unbelievable.
1 month, yeah.
Yeah, that is incredible. So I think the great discovery for a lot of people who are wanting to do the Back to Eden garden method, and they're frustrated because they're getting ants and termites, it's not the method.
No.
It's not the method. The bottom line is no cover is going to work.
No.
Unfortunately, you know,
No.
if you live in an area like you guys in Mississippi that already have those insects in the ground.
Exactly.
Yeah, now we are doing what we call a back to nature garden, which is about 5 to 6 inches deep with leaves, and we're going to show that on our video here. Even though we do that and we drive our wooden stakes in the ground to stake our tomatoes with or anything like that, we pull our stakes up. I'm going to show you a clip right here of what our stakes look like when we pull them out of the ground. And there's actually termites in them.
Wow,
Yeah.
amazing.
Not only do we have that issue to deal with here, now the ants you're talking about are carpenter ants. We have fire ants.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I've had people contact me about the fire ants too.
The fire ants
Yeah.
love to, because see, that stuff heats up. And when it heats up, fire ants love a warm environment. So they get up into it, begin to build beds. And it doesn't matter if we do it 4 to 6 inches deep. We have certain weeds here even. One of them's called a mimosa weed. It will come up through 6 inches deep of mulch and come through the top of it, you know.
And you know, and that's something that people really need to recognize before if they're newbies and they're starting a garden.
Yeah.
You have to recognize not just the soil you have, but what's in it. What's in it. And I think some people who are trying to implement like the Back to Eden wood chip garden method, they're discovering issues with ants and termites, and they didn't even realize they maybe even had these bugs until they created a pile, an environment that attracted them.
Exactly.
And and that's unfortunate. So it's the Back to Eden garden method isn't failing people. It's just that you got the stuff already in the soil, and now you're attracting them.
Yes.
But I always have to say this, because there's always hope, right? There's always hope.
There's always hope.
There's always hope. And you talked about your natural way of gardening, which is one way to address it. All right, people, but this is Starry, Danny, and Wanda want to make sure that you know that there is hope. There's hope. There's always hope.
Yes.
We get so wrapped up in the Back to Eden garden method, and if it's not working, there's alternative things that we can think about. So, number one, I just want to real quickly, before we go back to Danny and Wanda, the type of wood chips that you can use, there are actually some woods that termites don't like. Believe it or not, there are a couple species. But you still have to be very careful with implementing them in your garden. From my research, I found out that cypress, I think it's called cypress heartwood, is termite resistant, and some cedar. And Danny pointed out to make sure it's red and not western. But Danny even talked about you still have to be very careful with those types of woods, because these dirty termites, they're terrible.
They're terrible.
Right?
Yeah.
They're terrible.
Yeah.
They eat like everything.
They will.
We actually have two kinds of termites here. We have a burrowing termite and a flying termite.
Okay, I don't even want to hear anymore because you're talking about these termites.
They're horrendous.
Look,
We have stink bugs. That's all we've got.
oh, those are awful. Those are awful.
Unbelievable. But besides, there's hope in choosing some of these termite-resistant woods. Danny and Wanda have a huge, gorgeous garden. And you know what they do? They just use the conventional gardening method, which is, why don't you just explain what you do for your garden?
We go in, we break the ground, we till it up,
Yeah.
we put in our amendments into the soil, we go back, we plant directly into the dirt. When it comes up, it's called a hoe. We
It's called a hoe. People use hoes?
Yes.
we use a hoe. We use the hand method. We pull weeds.
It's called pulling them up.
Called pulling the weeds up.
Exactly.
We often sit and talk to one another in the garden and go, "Wow, what would it be like if we just did Back to Eden and it worked?"
Yes. It would be great if it worked. But we also,
and you know what?
we also do like several gardens, and we don't have just a small garden. We have,
We have about 3 acres of garden.
yes, and we couldn't do Back to Eden because it would cost a fortune if we could to do that much. So you have to pull weeds, or you have to plow, or let it get head high. One of those.
And I'm so glad you're talking about that, because you go on YouTube and everybody's on the bandwagon with the no-till. and the back to Eden. And yeah, we want less labor, less work with our gardens, and
Yes,
we want to conserve water and build soil. And the back to Eden wood chip method, no-till, really does that. But it doesn't mean that the old-fashioned pulling weeds and tilling and using the hoe doesn't work.
Exactly.
It's worked for centuries.
Yeah.
So, if you're in that area where you have termites and ants, there's hope. You just go back to what men and women have been doing since the pioneer days.
Yes.
Yes. Old-fashioned.
The old-fashioned gardening method.
There you go. There you go.
It's
Awesome.
labor intensive.
It's labor, but it works.
But look at the fruits of your labor.
Yeah.
Yes. And
That is labor that is feeding you, and it's an investment in yourself.
Yeah.
And you're doing it.
We just don't want people to be discouraged.
Yes, because you do have to pull weeds and things, but we have canned so much food out of our gardens, and we don't go buy any vegetables from the grocery store.
No.
Isn't that amazing? It's amazing.
We buy nothing like that. Anything that can come out of a garden that we eat is not bought from a store.
Exactly.
So, I guess the bottom line is that we want people to know that if the back to Eden garden method is failing you and you're having problems with termites and ants, that there is hope. There's hope. And you do have to think outside the box. And sometimes you have to go back into the past.
Exactly.
To revisit the old-fashioned ways, which still do work. And Wanda and Danny are living proof of that. And it's all about being self-sustainable
It
in
is.
any form or way and using whatever method works, right?
That's what we try to tell people, Starry, is that whatever works for you in your environment, do it.
Do it.
Don't go
Amen.
on YouTube and try to create something that doesn't work for you.
Yes.
Do what works. Find an old person. Talk to them.
Yes.
Find out what worked for them, what variety seeds work in your area, all these things. Find that information out.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because in everybody's region of the country, because people watch us from all over.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
So, when we're presenting what works for, like me at, our homestead, and what works for you and your homestead, it may not necessarily work for them. And we were talking about one size shoe doesn't fit all.
Right.
And you got to work for yourself.
That's
you got to
it.
make it work for yourself.
Yeah.
And there's great hope out there. So, all right, we're gonna go re-teleport ourselves, because I need to go back home to Idaho.
We need to go to Mississippi.
I need to go to
and
Mississippi, but I want to stay where you're at.
We
it's
like
so
Idaho.
cool.
It's good. Can we stay here and be cool?
All right, you guys, God bless you. Thank you so much for spending time. And I think this is really going to help people. I really do.
I do too.
It's going to open doors and some options.
Yes.
All right. God bless from my homestead to yours.
Yes, from
Bye,
deep
guys.
south to Idaho. Hey, bye-bye.
Starry, Hilder, I'm Fred. Bye-bye.